loves? It's your girl Diamond, and I'm back with my all new review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Now, this episode was very, very interesting. I kind of got excited about it, and this goes to show you that these people were complacent with how Martel treated Mel, and it didn't dawn on them that they would actually have to pay for how they've always took his side, and when they didn't take his side, they would reap the consequences. Now they're acting lost and confused and is wondering, how did Martel get here? Why is Martel behaving like this? As if they haven't seen him spaz out before. But we'll get into that later. I just had to talk about it because it was very apparent that you guys literally enjoyed the demise of another person and never thought it would come back on you. Anyway, we get to the conversation between Tisha and Nell that I thought was over once Tisha walked out like a little girl because she wanted to make it about Nell being responsible for what has occurred between her marriage when it's not Nell's fault. So production told her to get her ass back here so we can finish this scene, because this whole setup is because of you, Tisha. You were the one who was disrespectful. You were the one who got into Chris's face. And instead of you holding yourself accountable and apologizing for what you did, you now want to flip it as if this is all Nell and Chris's fault when it's not. So she's coming in hostile because she wants to be the one controlling the conversation, and she's not getting that control. So that whole excuse about this is where I have my son's PTA meetings, you can go to hell with that, and let's try this again. You're not going to yell at me. You're not going to disrespect me. I won't raise my voice. Tisha, she wasn't raising your voice. She wasn't raising her voice. She was very calm. She was very clear. She was very precise. And that's what you could not get, because you want everyone to cower and bow down to you because of what? What are you bringing to the table that we're supposed to be in fear of? Nothing. And all because she wanted to check you on some shit you wanted to spin and you couldn't handle it. Hence why you walked off. You're deflecting once again as if you're the victim and you're not. Okay? This little wounded baby bird tactic you doing, I don't like it. So here she is again, not holding herself accountable, not apologizing for getting into Chris's face. She still says, I don't remember. I don't think I did that. Girl, everybody was there. They watched you with your liquid courage ass and hands got into her husband's face. But because you want to push that you didn't do it, push that you don't remember, we supposed to say, okay, well, maybe she don't remember. That's fine. That's good. Fuck no. I'm not going to enable a lie for you that you did not get into my husband's face. I'm not going to enable a lie that you did not do the fucking most. You did the most. As a grown woman, you need to accept that you did the fucking most and apologize for it. But no, here she goes, turns on the waterworks and cries about how tired she is of the rumors regarding her marriage, all the infidelity rumors. And we get the flashbacks of all the seasons where there's been kind of proof and speculation about Marceau cheating on her. We got her mama, Miss Wanda, making notice that Marceau don't wear his wedding ring. Her mama asking Marceau if he ever owned an apartment with Martel. Her mama bringing up the back photo. Tisha pulling up to Black to ask him about Atlanta. Like, what are we doing here, Tisha? And you want to say it's because of everybody else? No, it's because of your fucking husband, Tisha. Your husband doesn't shut down these rumors. Your husband doesn't shut down the conversation by saying it's not true. I've never done this. There's no proof of this. Hell no. He makes jokes about it. He answer questions with a question. Makes you question your own instincts and everything in between. And you internalize all of what you're not getting from your husband. And you question everybody else around you. No, ma'am. Okay? This all started because you never addressed your problems. And now you want to talk about how it's taking a toll on your marriage. There's been other problems that's been created because of these infidelity rumors. Okay, talk about those problems. I want to know what other problems that you have endured because of these infidelity rumors. Because you don't talk about how this makes you feel. You don't talk about how it's affected certain things. You don't. And at the end of the day, you cannot blame nobody else about how these conversations are happening because your husband puts you in these predicaments and not shut it down, not reassure you on it. You can't blame nobody but yourself and your husband. Can't nobody ruin your situation instead of the people that's in the situation. Okay? So I don't know how Nell felt like Tisha was letting her guard down and was showing up more transparent. To me, no. This was her crying and telling people, please don't ask me about my marriage because I don't think I can handle this type of conversation. Just let me live in my delusion, please. Let me live in land of milk and cookies. Don't hold me accountable for what I'm not addressing in regards to my relationship. When I know there's some things that I know what's going on, I am just not equipped with talking about it. I am not equipped with being confronted with the truth about it. Just don't put me in that space. Please don't. Hell fucking no. Because you want to put everybody in that space of being held accountable for what they have going on in their situation. You want to hold everybody else's feet to the fire about their situation. You don't show no empathy, no compassion for other people's situation. But you want people to show you grace and mercy? Fuck that. Absolutely not. Okay? Then we get to another thing that bothered me in this scene. Tisha wanting Nell to apologize for the mentor-mentee comment. Now, she didn't address it like that, but Nell brought it up on her own. And I didn't like that because Tisha was the one who made a big deal. Last season when she got into Nell's face and was drunk and everything in between, and Nell was like, I guess I made it worse. My apologies to you. That made me mad. Why is Nell apologizing to you over her saying you guys were mentor-mentee and that she didn't say we were friends? I don't give a fuck about that shit. I really don't. Like, you literally turned the whole entire conversation into Nell apologizing to you, into Nell accepting that she might have done some things to hurt you when you were the one who hurt her first. Like, oh, whatever. And then we get on to Nell talking about she's a certified life coach. Tisha wants to joke about it in front of her, but also talk cash shit in the confessional. And it's like, listen, if you want to joke about the fact she's a certified life coach, then why are you always asking for other people who have experienced infidelity? How did they go about it? How did they figure it out? Why are you asking for somebody else's insight and wisdom on how to navigate certain points in certain situations in their life if you're not trying to understand it? If you want to joke about it and talk shit about it, then why are we here? Nell, keep on the lookout. While y'all cool right now, she's only setting up to come at you later on if you do something else that bothers her. But whatever, I'm done with this scene. It made me mad that all Tisha did was ran from accountability, ran from apologizing, and made Nell be the one to give her understanding, grace, and sympathy. Moving on. Now we get Kimmy and Maurice. Another pointless scene that was mind-blowing. Because what does Kimmy and Maurice have going on? Why are we only seeing them in their office? Do you guys have any other businesses to work on? Maurice, are we going to see you do any of your cases? What exactly do you do? What kind of attorney are you? I'm still confused. But anyway, the whole point of this conversation was to talk about Martel and that Martel is spiraling and that Maurice wants to find out what's going on with him, to check in on him because I believe he's just doing way too much and it's just not like him. Kimmy is like, why are you concerned and why are you acting like this is brand new of Martel's behavior? He's been like this. Kimmy, I don't know why you're confused about why Maurice is wondering about it because he's always wondering about Martel. He's always wondering how Martel is doing. And trying to convince Kimmy that she should see things from his perspective. Apparently, that's all Kimmy has done is always see things from Martel's perspective. She's giving him way too much grace from our eyes, mind you, because she's the one who's talking about how he's a good guy and that she's always giving him the benefit of the doubt for every single thing. No. And it's kind of like throughout this entire ordeal, you guys have always catered to how Martel has been feeling when it came down to how he was treating Melody. Now, Maurice has told Martin Luther King speech about when he has known Martel. Martel's always been that good guy, that nice guy. He's always prayed for people. He's always chivalrous to people. And then we get into the comparison of how Martel was versus the Scotts. You know, how the women idolized how Martel was, that amazing husband, amazing father. He did what he was supposed to do, which is being an equal partner to his wife, support system, be there for the kids, everything in between. And that these Scotsmen did not hold their weight of being an equal partner to their wives, and that they didn't do half as what Martel did when he was married. And since he was doing his dirt, he got caught doing his dirt. Now he lost everything, and he's mad that I did my dirt, but I also did what I was supposed to do as a husband and a father, and I still lose my family. How can these men who barely do anything for their wives do dirt, treat their wives like shit, and they get to still keep their wives? That was the whole rhetoric and understanding that Kimmy brought up, and I had to agree because still to this day, these Scotsmen don't do shit for y'all. They don't show up for y'all like they are supposed to. We've seen it with Kimmy. We've seen it with Tisha time and time again. So it's like, how is that fair that I lost my family and I was doing what I was supposed to do, but yet I was also cheating on my wife? These men was right beside me doing the same exact shit that I was doing, and they still wasn't doing the bare minimum of being there for their wives. How are they getting catered to? How are they getting their laundry done, getting their place made when they're not doing half of what they're supposed to do as fathers and husbands? Because of the women they chose, Martel, that's why. They've chosen pick-me women, low self-esteem women who will rather deal with the bullshit but act like it doesn't happen as long as they can say they're still married. That's it, that's all, okay? And Kimmy just tells Maurice that Martel don't respect you. He doesn't care of your opinions. And even if you had countless of conversations with him, this man still doesn't give a shit. And he sees you as an extension of Marceau, which I have to agree. And you think about it, Maurice is worse than Marceau. He just likes to overtalk, use word vomit, use all these soliloquies to make him sound more intelligent, but he actually sounds fucking dumb at the same time. And Kimmy, the fact that you are telling Maurice that Martel don't respect you, he respects other kinds of men, the same applies to you, how Maurice don't respect you. He don't value your opinion. And telling him it's a waste of time to go talk to Martel. Instead, you should be spending more time with your son like we've been telling you to do. So who is we? And what's this been? How long have you been trying to get Maurice to spend time with Monster? And he's supposed to use any free time he have to be there for his son before he goes off to college. So again, you're telling your husband he needs to spend more time with his own child. And what does he do? Overrides it. Ignores everything you told him to do, still does what he want to do, which is go talk to Martel. He would rather go talk to a 40-something-year-old man about what he needs to do instead of spending time with his own son. Says a lot. But hey, Kimmy, that's your life. You're suffering through it. You're still taking over the responsibility of raising another man's child. Fine, have at thee. Good night and goodbye. All right, so we got Tisha and Marceau. Again, another family scene that I never find real and authentic because they want to present themselves to be this amazing family. Not really. But I will say this. Their daughter, Macy, she is growing up absolutely beautiful. She is growing up to be a very beautiful young lady. Okay, she looks just like Tisha and she looks like Marceau at the same time. And I do believe she has developed Marceau's sarcasm, which he probably finds it to be an issue. But hey, that's your child. And I love that she was joking on him about when he's going to grow hair and that he's never going to stop giving her money because Marceau wants her to focus on making her own money so that way he can stop paying for things. Will never happen. And we're seeing, you know, Tisha got her daughter's makeup line, no, hair care line on the counter to do some type of false advertising because Tisha don't promote like she's supposed to, especially when it comes to her own daughter's business. I don't see a lot of posts about it, but either way, she's telling Macy that she needs to start handling more responsibilities and that she needs to start posting about her business more. Okay, so how are you teaching her on how to do that, Tisha? How are you preparing for her to learn how to manage her business? Are you taking her to the warehouse where the bottles are filled, where the labels are printed, what's in the bottles, the ingredients, the benefits? Are you teaching her that type of stuff and she's in school? Are you teaching her how to maybe plan a party? You know, when it comes down to the festivals and fundraisers they have for the school, are you doing that? Or are you just telling her what to do? Because that's the one thing we never see when it comes to Tisha and Marceau. They never show us the ropes on how they conduct their business. They never explain clearly how they enter in their business. That's what we don't see. But moving on from that. Marceau is not Macy's favorite parent. No, Tisha is her favorite parent. And when she leaves, they talk about how she has a great friend group, and then it segues into Tisha having a somewhat good friend group. And we talk about the conversation she had with Nell where she said she apologized, but I didn't hear the apology. And the whole thing about denying that she didn't get into Chris's face. And this is the whole thing. When mentioned that she didn't know she got into Chris's face and doesn't remember getting into Chris's face, Marceau, you did not stick to your guns and tell her straight up that she did do that. You laughed it off with her and was like, yeah, see, you did. I was there. And, you know, you tend to do that sometimes. You know, you tend to walk up to other women's husband like they're your husband. And then she just laughs it off again. Like it just goes over her head. Like that's not a problem. That's still not holding her accountable. Like, I don't know why y'all placate to her feelings and I let her know straight up, stop doing shit like this. This is wrong. It bothers me y'all do this shit to her. So then the whole thing about the mentor-mentee conversation, and then they joke about Nell being a licensed life coach, and is she licensed to be crazy, which I don't find funny, because why are y'all just talking shit about this lady after you just moved on, right? So you're not letting go of this, you're gonna still hold on to this. Okay. So then we get to the rest of the ladies. Marcel asked, how is Trish doing? She said she hasn't spoken to her since her birthday, and that she felt the way about Neil and Trish coming at her and Kim, how they don't be transparent, which you're not. And Marcel wants to sound stupid and say, what are we not transparent about? What are we hiding? Y'all hiding a lot. Y'all hiding the fact that y'all definitely had some problems that led to y'all almost divorcing that y'all don't discuss. You don't talk about how you conduct your business. Like, you have hid a lot of things and have not been transparent about a lot of things, Marcel. So then we mentioned how she has a better relationship with Kimmy and Destiny. These are the girls that I have a better relationship with. I'm easy to talk to. And Marcel talks about you might want to keep an eye out on Destiny. She cool and all, but it's given to me she's everybody's friend. Meaning Martel. And Tisha knows that her allegiance is with Martel because she's known him the longest. But for Marcel, he's talking about being careful with what she tells Destiny. You know what I'm saying? And if anything mentions about us, we hoping that Destiny shuts it down. I don't see how y'all are just now looking at Destiny sideways when y'all saw the way she moved when it came down to Melody. But my thing is, I feel like Marcel is probably seeing more about Destiny's motives from last season with regarding how she treated Mel, and also with the whole fake field day event. She didn't shut down Martel coming at them. She didn't apologize for ambushing Tisha when they all went out for breakfast. It's been a lot of things that Destiny has done that has caused raised eyebrows, confusion, and it's like, are you really to be trusted? And no, she's not really to be trusted. But then again, it's kind of like y'all have recognized her movements for all this time, and now y'all want to be like, oh, let's be careful. Whatever, miss me. Then Tisha, again, still wants to put out that notion, let's keep marriage and kids off the table. The show wouldn't be called Love and Marriage Huntsville if we're keeping these types of conversations off the table, Tisha. That will never happen. If you don't want to talk about your marriage, get off the show. But don't act as if you are so high and mighty that you have a perfect marriage that can't nobody talk shit about it when they absolutely can, the way you can talk shit about everybody else. And you have that same back and forth revenge tactic like Martel. If you talk about me, I'm going to talk about you. But you don't want to be held accountable when you do talk about other people. You want to act like that's not true, that's not true, when it is true. Like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. We have not seen y'all discuss nothing about y'all marriage when y'all been talking about everybody else's situation, including Melly and Martell's. That's all y'all been doing. Whatever, I'm moving on. We got Neil and Chris. They went out to a toy shop to buy toys for their new grandchildren. That's it, that's all. Lance and Chris had a conversation about Destiny when he went to his office and talking about how I do hold her a conversation. Nell is like, I don't think he owes her shit because apparently they weren't exclusive. She said she never gave him none. So what do you want? Okay, he is a man. He's going to have needs and he met them. But with somebody else and not you. Okay, Nell. Lots of people believe that that is an old ignorant mindset of giving the man license to go ahead and do what he do and not be held accountable for it. But I feel like for Destiny, she's already moving funny anyway. So how can she feel some type of way about what you were doing as if she wasn't doing funny too? But because we know later down the season, she's going to pursue some type of relationship or some type of something with his god brother. That's what we know in the upcoming episodes. But I don't want Nell to be so included in all of this. I don't want her to be consumed with all of this. I just want her to make sure she is just giving her opinions, stepping out, and living her life, okay? Worry about other things. Don't be so consumed about what Lance got going on or your godson, okay? So then we get to the sit down that she had with Tisha, and that Tisha walked off. She got upset. Then she came back. She became somewhat transparent to discuss how she doesn't like that her marriage is being the topic of conversation. She don't like that her marriage is constantly being attacked. Chris was like, how? Well, we got the 20 women. We got the interview that Martel brought up and the back photo, and all of that wasn't proof. And she doesn't believe any of this was proof. So she's tired of it. And, you know, we talked about it. We squashed it. It's all fine. I don't remember Nell mentioning that she received an apology. Something's telling me that she didn't get one. And she's not going to talk about counseling. She's not going to talk about mentoring with none of these ladies. Cool, fine, I'm happy. All right, so now we get to the conversation between Martel and Maurice. Now, Martel was already aware as to why Maurice hit him up. He wanted to talk about the interview about the Vegas trip. And he was prepared for this conversation. Maurice asked about what's going on in his life. He said, okay, well, I'm entering into a more serious relationship with Ariane. And Maurice like, for real, with Ariane? Yeah, so we're talking marriage. No. Not jumping into that like tomorrow or anything, no. And that's gonna take some time. I wanna be sure that everything is in order and that she's the person I want in my life, but you're not marrying her, Martel. You're just saying it just to say it. Trying to put emphasis on how she might come onto the show, but she's not coming on the show. And you don't see her in your life no more than a baby mama. Point blank, period. So moving on from there, so Maurice really wants to push the conversation into convincing Martel to get back to the person he used to be. Okay, saying how he's had a rough couple of months and you know that he's out of control. He's very concerned about his mental health. I don't recall you guys saying anything about his mental health when he was attacking Melody. You guys were enjoying him attacking Melody. You guys were on his side with attacking Melody. Y'all didn't give any heart-to-heart conversation about he shouldn't do this, it's wrong, look at what he's doing. None of that. It's only now that's affecting your household, Maurice, that you want him to go back to how he used to be. You want him to be that good guy that Kimmy is always bragging about, right? So talking about, is he comfortable being in his villain era, and that does he actually believe he is the villain? And if he knows he shouldn't do bad things, why even engage in it? And why can't you be that guy we've known for all these years? You're putting on way too thick, Maurice, okay? And he's talking about how he don't like the negativity. How in the beginning he wasn't talking about Tisha and Marceau. But keep in mind though, Martel, you did feel some type of way last season when you found out that Marceau did an interview where he said he doesn't respect you in regards to the Revenge P case, even though everybody was aware of the Revenge P case, was aware about what was going on, but you decided to expose him at the field day event and you exposed Tisha. Tisha in return goes to Carl's King podcast, reveals that you might have been on the down low in college, and getting back at them, you decided to reveal the interview. Now, when you dropped the trailer for the interview, you wanted it to be a grace period where Marceau and Tisha would have learned their lesson and would have apologized to you to pretty much keep things cool with you so you don't expose them. But they didn't do it, so you felt compelled to do what you did, which is reveal the interview. You didn't want to. You said you hated that it happened. You don't want them in the same space as you. You don't want their marriage to be torn apart. But at the same time, I do think this is Martel saying, I am not protecting you guys anymore. I am not going to lie and keep up appearances that you have not done anything. I'm going to expose everything I know. So then we're discussing Martel feels the type of way about Maurice not holding his brother accountable and his sister-in-law accountable because he's always holding him accountable. And also how he also felt the way about Maurice not defending him in LA at the reunion. When Martel was asked why he pled guilty for the Revenge P case, he couldn't come up with that proper legal term as to why he was automatically guilty and expected for Maurice to defend him. Don't know why. And Maurice was like, it wasn't about you versus everybody. It was about you versus the state of Alabama, and that everything you said could have been used against you. So you shouldn't have said anything, and your lawyers pretty much told you to not say anything. Maurice makes it about him as to why he was told not to say nothing in regards to his DUI, but because he wants to talk about his DUI every chance he gets, because he wants to convince the people that he's innocent and that he didn't do nothing wrong because the case got dismissed. He proceeds to tell us the night of his DUI, mentioning that both him and Kimmy left together with emphasis of them going together. Then she dropped him off at Credit One because his car was parked there, but still doesn't give any real reasoning as to why you and Kimmy separated that night, because you went and hung out with a tree stump named Sadark and somebody else. Then give us information that Kimmy was getting ready to go to bed in about 30 minutes. Don't know why you wanted to give us that time. And as he was turning the corner to make it to the house, he ended up hitting an animal. Then he ended up hitting a tree, then a pole. Martel was dying laughing. I was dying laughing, because who told you that was a convincing story? He said, that sounds like a story my 9-year-old would come up with. And Maurice felt the way about him laughing at him. I don't know why, but I do think this is a part of the pact that these men have had with one another. Y'all all like to tell bullshit stories to one another. Y'all all like to give bullshit reasonings to justify what y'all do. And everybody goes along with it. Since you want Martel to defend the fact that you obviously had a traumatic night that led to your DUI, he didn't do it. He laughed in your face, meaning he doesn't respect what you're telling him. He doesn't respect you. He feels like this is a crock of shit because he knows you. The same way how you have always defended Martel on his fuck shit, the same is applying to you, and you don't like it. And we're going off of the information you didn't want to tell us from last season because Kimmy was under the impression that she thought you went to work because she didn't know where the hell you were after Black. And I thought that Tisha told Melody that you went out and went grocery shopping. That's what she said that Kimmy did. So again, giving us this information doesn't clear up anything of what we assume from the time of your DUI, because you want to push the fact that you were innocent, push the fact that they got dismissed, and then you said you got a concussion. How was it that you got a concussion, but yet you pulled up to Black the next following day and celebrated of you getting out of jail? Make that make sense. But either way, Maurice, nobody is believing your story and how you're arrogant that it got dismissed due to the evidence that was lined up with what you said. Not really. It was due to a technicality. It wasn't a cut and dry case. And again, Kimmy was right about you should not have sat down with Martel, because this makes you look even more dumb for mentioning this information that I'm not even sure Kimmy knows about. And the whole point of the conversation really was a waste, in my opinion. And Martel's pretty much not giving a fuck anymore about nobody else's feelings anymore, okay? Then he's trying to question Martel if he's ever lied intentionally. He said no. Then he goes back to the video, and the woman who spoke about what happened, that was her truth. He did not say nothing about it. And Maurice even said that most of the things she said wasn't true. Okay, what was true, Maurice? That came out of your mouth, remember? So expose the part that was true. Give us a complete breakdown about what's the lie and what's the truth, since you said most of it wasn't. And you know that Martel has a tale that if he's lying, he clears his throat. I didn't see him clear his throat at all in this conversation. He was direct and clear when he talking to Maurice, because Maurice wanted to posture that he's coming in with more intelligence than Martel. Hell no, Martel hit him where it hurt. He asked him, he told him straight up, you had sex with her. Your brother was next in line. She wanted to have sex with me. I said no. Ask him, was he in the room? He said on the initial, meaning he was there with everything that was about to go down, and then he went back to doing him. Then you're cross-examining him, asking him what was the color of the room, what was the color of the carpet, as if he's supposed to remember those details. Do you remember those details, Maurice? Asking him all types of specific questions, trying to paint a picture that puts him in the room. But it's like, it's not about whether or not he was there. Were you there? That's the whole question. Why are you asking him what the place looks like? Do you remember what the place looks like? Then he proceeds to ask a very gross question. What does my dick looks like? Because it's very unique. Yeah, that's not for him to think and look at so hard about, because he's like, don't do that shit to me, bro. Stop that. Stop that. Are you high right now? Are you on some gummies? Because you want to say it's a very unique thing about your piece. Why? Is it crooked? Is it a curve? Does it have a mole at the top of the tip? Is it circumcised? What is it? And I don't know why you're trying to wonder if he remembers certain details. How about you remember certain details, since you said most of it wasn't true? So the video, you said you were there, but you were also gambling. Were you there or were you gambling? Martel said, I was there and I was gambling. What do you want him to say? That's not true? Two things can be true. Yeah, I was there to see y'all about to get it in, but then I let them go gambling. That can be a fact, and I believe Martel. Then asking him, did he pay her for the interview? He said no. So how did she come? He said, I contacted her. How? Because I remember her when I met her in Vegas when your brother flew her in. Now he wants to check him about whether or not he met her in Vegas, or if it even happened in Vegas. So that's the part that's a lie, that we didn't go to Vegas. And now he wants to give credit to Kimmy about why this is a bad idea for him to meet up with him. Absolutely. Because you're making it worse for you. So Martel asked him straight up, which part isn't true? That your brother didn't fly her into Vegas? Then Maurice said, I don't know what Marceau did. That was not a good answer to say. Because it's like, see, I'm not fucking lying. Now, for somebody who always defends his brother, you threw your brother under the bus about whether or not he actually did it. But let's not get it twisted. Remember, he told Marceau he's always lying earlier when he got called out for not being there for Jalen. And Marceau has thrown Maurice under the bus before when Maurice lied about not going to the other Atlanta trip when Ariane was there and she took a photo of all the guys. Oh, this is not going to be good. Kimmy and Tisha are going to kick your ass when they see this. So he's making it worse for himself. So asking Maurice, are you an attorney? You are? Okay, sue us, because I'm not lying. Give us a complete breakdown, Maurice. If this is what happened and this is not what happened, clear it up for us, okay? Called out on what was true and what wasn't true, and he couldn't answer. Now he's like, oh my God, what am I going to do with you? I mean, come on now, you were met with an obligation. Sue him then. And how long has it been since this scene was aired and filmed? I'm not seeing no new news of you suing Martel. You suing everybody else. I'm not saying you sue Martel because you know you can't sue him. But either way, this was a bad idea from the start. Martel was the victor of the situation, and it's more telling that there are things that Martel have not lied about in regards to what him, Marceau, and Maurice were doing when he was out doing his dirt. And you trying to convince him that he shouldn't do it, as far as go down this road, only ended up worse for you, Maurice. So, as seen, we got Maurice, Marceau, and Kim. They all meet up so that Maurice can give an update about how his conversation with Martel went and how he was genuinely concerned for Martel's mental health. Marceau said, fuck his mental health. I'm on Marceau's side. And mentioning how Maurice called a stray in that interview because it was about how he didn't defend Martel in LA. But Marceau said, why would he get mad about it? Because he didn't say it. The woman said it. Like, the more that y'all talking cold is given, y'all definitely was aware of the interview and y'all definitely watched the interview. But y'all not addressing it in its entirety. Y'all just speaking on little bits and pieces. So, you know, wondering if Martel was telling the truth about what he witnessed because he said he was there. I'm asking him, what does my dick look like? Because it's a very unique thing about it though, right? You know, the whole thing wasn't funny to me, but Marceau laughed as well as Kimmy laughed. But Kimmy, you look dumb as hell for laughing along with it because this isn't funny to laugh at. Why would your husband think that's something to ask about another man looking at his dick if he's about to go and have sex with another woman? That shouldn't be something you'd be comfortable with. And then Marceau's in his confessional talking about if Martel said he witnessed a man about to have sex with another woman, what is he looking at? The woman, obviously. Why would he look at the man? Y'all are still alluding to the fact that Martel is gay, that you guys are not addressing, but that's not right to do. And if you've never watched porn before, lots of men look at the women. They don't look at the men. The hell? Either way. Maurice still wants to plead his case about whether or not if this is who Martel is and if this is who he's trying to be. Marceau said, I don't know who you're trying to convince. Okay, this is who Martel has always been. It just needs to be brought up by a certain circumstance, and this is what it is. But I know what he wants. He wants to fight. I'm not giving it to him. Kimmy was all about, you know, when he's a nice guy, he's a nice guy. But then when he's not nice, he's not the nicest guy. Oh, wow, y'all just not realizing this, or y'all now realizing this because it's affecting y'all now. Get the fuck out of here. So because Kimmy and Maurice are still on the verge of giving Martel a level of hope, a sense of hope in this situation, he calls both of them delusional in his confessional. More so Maurice than Kimmy, okay? So Maurice talks about he wants to plan an outing for the fellas next week. So it could be like accountability hangout. And assuming that he don't want to be around Martel, that Marceau isn't coming. He said, no, I'm going to be there. But don't expect me to have a conversation with him because we're both cool with where we are. I don't want to talk to him. He don't want to talk to me. It is what it is. Don't try to figure out how we're going to be cool because we're not. Obviously, y'all can still be cool with this man when he's around y'all, but y'all don't want nothing to do with him. I still find it weird that this man has tried to out you multiple times about sleeping with other women while being married, and you still are not kicking his ass and you're not removing yourself from him. But either way, that's what y'all like to do. And that was pretty much the end of the episode. And next week or tomorrow, basically, we're going to get some new information about whether or not Ariane might have messed around with Ken's friend Will. That's going to be interesting. But all in all, this was a very good episode. I ain't going to hold you. Martel was the MVP shocker in this case because he came out on top with checking everybody about what he knows. and nobody debunked it. I ain't seen no truth come out from any parties besides Martel. But hey, y'all, that's just all I have. Please stay tuned for my next video. I'm see you guys later. Bye.